Good evening. Here is the news highlight. I'm Ruth Aguele. Nigeria seeks more stronger cooperation with France to address the prevailing threat of terrorism in Nigeria and in West African sub-region. President Bola Tinubu raised the idea when he received the outgoing French ambassador to Nigeria, Emmanuel Blattman, who was at the villa on farewell visit. Following the 6-week suspension of the 4 programs under the National Social Investment Programs Agency, President Tinubu has approved the establishment of a special presidential panel chaired by the coordinating Minister of the Economy and Minister of Finance, Wale Edun. Now, this special presidential panel is tasked with the responsibility to undertake a comprehensive audit of the existing financial framework and policy guidelines of the social investment programs to re-engineer the financial architecture of the program with detailed modification. Nigeria's Vice President Kashim Shettima has assured that the rights of all Nigerians, regardless of their religious and ethnic beliefs, will be protected. He made the pledge in Lagos during a special prayer organized by the Jamiatu Ansaruddin at Jania, aimed at promoting unity and tolerance in the country. The federal government says it has put in place a mechanism that will ensure that quality and standard inputs are distributed to farmers during the second phase of the 2023 to 2024 dry season farming activities. The Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abba Kyari, says the government will go tough on people trying to sabotage the Renewed Hope initiative on food security. These are some of the highlights we'll bring to you on the news shortly. We have to disengage from the network service of the NTA as a result of the ongoing AFCON 2023. You can watch Weekend File on NTA International on DSTV channel 251. The 10th line of Nigeria's national anthem says, "The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain." Now, that phrase holds significant milestones in Nigeria's journey as a nation, especially as the country prepares to mark another Armed Forces Remembrance Day, which is just around the corner on January 15. A symbolic day set aside to remember the nation's fallen heroes who paid the ultimate price while defending the unity and sovereignty of the country. Well, as the nation approaches the D-Day, it is a time for reflection on the sacrifices they made and for those who continue to put their lives on the line of duty to protect the territorial integrity of the nation. But beyond the commemoration, it is a time to look at ways to address some of the challenges faced by family members they left behind, while putting into consideration their welfare. In a twist of fate, the nation could have been saved from dealing with feeling vacuums created by their exit, if only peace and unity continue to thrive. The price for peace is priceless. Therefore, unity amongst Nigerians is sacrosanct, as President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has demonstrated resilience in his quest for building one Nigeria, as he pledged to work towards revitalizing the economy, enhancing security, and fostering national greatness. On Weekend File tonight, we'll bring you a message of hope and unity, which will form the basis of our conversation as the nation remembers the fallen heroes and lessons of unity, the gains of various initiatives in peace building. As usual, we'll bring you reports fired in by our correspondents across the Federation to set the pace for our discussion. Our guest is Brigadier General Sani Usman, retired, former Director of Army Public Relations and spokesman for the Nigerian Army. Welcome once again. This is Weekend File. Thank you for joining us. We'll begin with the news segment. Nigeria is seeking a much strengthened cooperation with France to address the prevailing threat of terrorism in Nigeria and in West African sub-region. President Bola Tinubu raised the idea when he received the outgoing French ambassador to Nigeria, Emmanuel Blattman, who was at the villa on a farewell visit. President Tinubu, who commended the outgoing envoy for her dedication to enhancing relations between France and Nigeria, urged her to leverage her new role as Director for Africa in the French Foreign Ministry to advocate the urgent need to upgrade technical cooperation between Nigeria and France to defeat terrorism and violent extremism. Reflecting on her tour of duty in Nigeria, Ambassador Blattman shared notable achievements, highlighting France's significant investments and remarkable interest in bilateral trade. She pointed out that France is among the top foreign investors in Nigeria with over $10 billion in investment stock, and with bilateral trade increasing by 51% in 2021 and 2022. Recognizing Nigeria's pivotal role in regional security and stability, the outgoing ambassador emphasized the close collaboration between France, Nigeria, and other key partners in fostering sustainable international peace, security, and development.
Yeah, and that has invested, over 3 billion euros over the last 10 years. I also mentioned to His Excellency the President, the pride we have taken in supporting the cultural and creative industries, the youth, in many new sectors such as esports, video games, animation. It's been a delight for me to see all these young Nigerian talents thrive and, be able to showcase their talent and their skills in abroad, especially in France and in Europe. We also count on Nigeria to play a greater role, not only in the sub-region or in the continent, but worldwide, as a global and major actor worldwide.
In other news, following the 6-week suspension of the 4 programs under the National Social Investment Programs Agency, President Tinubu has approved the establishment of a special presidential panel chaired by the coordinating Minister of the Economy and Minister of Finance, Wale Edun. This special presidential panel is tasked with the responsibility to undertake a comprehensive audit of the existing financial framework and policy guidelines of the social investment programs to re-engineer the financial architecture of the program with detailed modification to guide the program's implementation processes. Members of the committee are Ministers of Health, Budget, Information, Communications, and Minister of State for Youth. With the coming on board of this special panel of 6 members, the President hopes that public confidence will be reposed on the social investment programs that aims to reduce the poverty index in the country. Nigeria's Vice President Kashim Shettima has assured that the rights of all Nigerians, regardless of their religious and ethnic beliefs, will be protected. He made the pledge in Lagos during a special prayer organized by the Jamiyatu Ansarudin Tijaniya aimed at promoting unity and tolerance in the country. The Vice President, in a keynote address on the theme, Searching for a Compass in a Multicultural World, emphasized the importance of inclusivity and respect for religious freedom in a nation with an estimated population of more than 200 million people.
Your Highnesses, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I assure you that the message of this day resonates with us, and Mr. President is guided by it in his promise to protect the rights and freedoms of all citizens, regardless of their beliefs. In our diverse nation, it is our duty to ensure that every Nigerian can practice their religion freely without fear or discrimination. We are here to extend a hand of friendship to Jamiyatu Ansarudin Tijaniya and commend your efforts in promoting peaceful coexistence among different religious communities.
President General of Jamiyatu Ansarudin Tijaniya, Khalifa Muhammadu Sanusi Lamido Sanusi II, who is also the 14th Emir of Kano, called on politicians, the business community, religious scholars, and traditional leaders to focus on Nigerian project and work towards rebuilding the nation.
and face governance and move Nigeria forward.
On politics, the governing All Progressives Congress says the party remains committed to a constitutional process that will enhance value addition to governance and democratic norms and values. Deputy National Organizing Secretary of the party, Nze Chidi Duru, said this during an interactive session with journalists covering activities of the party.
At the trial court, they understood the fact differently. At the Court of Appeal, they also understood the fact as they understood it, but more importantly, at the Supreme Court, which is the final arbiter in the judicial process, a different understanding was given to it, and a pronouncement was made accordingly.
Working committee member who spoke on a wide range of issues says the party is standing strong to fulfill all promises made during campaigns.
It is working very hard in their own interests. And of course, we continue to give the government the support that they require to deliver the dividend of democracy to the people of Nigeria. As to his charge, we wish him good luck. We knew about 2-3 months ago such call was made, and the Labour Party said they are not in any position to undertake such unholy engagement. They would rather ask PDP to join hands with them than join hands with PDP. And we saw a similar statement that was also made by NPP. So I do not think that this will be different.
He said APC is putting everything in order to ensure all plans are perfected ahead of future elections and devoted to championing the course of transparent leadership. Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf of Kano State has described the Supreme Court judgment affirming him as a duly elected governor of the state as victory for democracy. The governor stated this during a media briefing in Abuja. Let's hear from Muhammad Rabiu Ali.
With the litigation over after 7 months that saw the Tribunal and Court of Appeal giving judgments, the verdict of the Apex Court has restored Abba Kabir as duly elected governor of Kano State. And this, he says, has spurred him to be more committed to delivering dividends of democracy to the people of the state.
Let me specifically register my sincere appreciation and that of the good people of Kano State to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, and his Vice President for their statesmanship, leadership, and their respect for democracy.
The governor pledged open and transparent government, calling on supporters of all political parties in Kano State to eschew politics of bitterness and make Kano great.
I wish to call on the respondents, His Excellency Nasir Yusuf Gowna, to accept the verdict of the people and join hands with us to continue the all-important work of making our great state.
Governor Yusuf thereafter appreciated the team of lawyers and INEC who stood by NMPP to this victory. In Abuja, Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
Niger State Police Command has paraded 15 suspects for their alleged involvement in various crimes, including kidnapping. The State Commissioner of Police, Shawalu Ebenezer Mamman, who paraded the suspects before journalists in Mina, said they will be charged to court as soon as investigation is completed. Musa Mikil reports.
Paraded with different gangs of notorious kidnapping syndicate who have been terrorizing parts of the state, including the gangster that allegedly invaded the Sana village via Naskui, Magama local government area of the state, where a male victim of about 20 years old was kidnapped and a ransom collected before securing his release. Another 30-year-old pedophile who usually defiled minors after luring them into his room with token was also on the suspects list, and other alleged criminals who specializes as informants to kidnappers, as well as 30-year-old involved in theft of Toyota Corolla along Abuja axis. The suspects, who have since confessed to their crimes, say they indulge in these heinous acts for their personal gains.
They blocked a vehicle around Obituary Road, which they kidnapped a lady. Million. And what brought him here is that he's planning to buy AK-47 rifle for his master, who is Dogo Hanza, notorious bandit in Kampala. That what brought him here, he normally defies minor.
We are at every nook and cranny of the state to arrest potential criminals, get their weapons out from circulation, and to bring these suspects to justice.
State Commissioner of Police Shaulu Ebenezer Damamman urged the general public to support security agencies with useful information to ensure safety of lives and property in Mina. Musa Mikael, NTA News.
The Road Transport Employers Association of Nigeria, RTAN, has welcomed the resolution of item 6 in the labour dispute by the federal government through the office of the National Security Advisor to the President. Nuhu Rabadu, RTAN National President Musa Mohammed Meitakobi gave the commendation during a press briefing at its headquarters in Abuja. Omenka Amarachiko reports.
Thank you. God bless.
That was additional Teslim Okonomo, the adopted Lagos State branch chairman of RTAN, with effect from 1st of January 2024. The decision was part of the federal government's intervention through the Office of the National Security Advisor, which put to rest the item 6 on the list of demand by the organized labor during their memorandum of understanding with the federal government on 2nd October 2023.
We announce the dissolution of our former structure of Lagos State executives, council members, and adopt the appointment of Comrade Adeshina Teslim Hussaini, aka Okolomo, as the chairman of Lagos State branch of RTEAN. The operation of RTAN in all motor parks in Lagos State is to resume with immediate effect. We are therefore calling on all our members to comply with the peaceful resolution reached and cooperate with the government and security agencies in discharging their duties.
Members who were suspended in the course of the matter are recalled in the interest of peace and harmony in the state. In Abuja, Umenka Machuku, NTA News.
A look at agric. The federal government says it has put in place a mechanism that will ensure that quality and standard inputs are distributed to farmers during the second phase of the 2023 to 2024 dry season farming activities. The Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abubakar Kyari, says the government will go tough on people trying to sabotage the Renewed Hope initiative on food security. Let's hear from Musa Aliyu.
This is a convergence of key players in the federal government's dry season program under the National Agricultural Growth Scheme and Agro Pocket. They are here to review the progress achieved under the program, which started in November last year. In spite of the success recorded in the distribution of input at 50% discount, lapses were also observed. The Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abubakar Kyari, said measures will be taken to address the identified challenges in the second phase of the project.
My colleague and I, Honorable Minister of State, Senator Dr. Aliyu Sabi Abdullahi, have directed that all necessary machineries and strategies be put in place and to address all the observed lapses and infractions from all parties.
Ministers of Finance and that of Budget and National Planning pledged to provide all the necessary support needed in the implementation of the second phase of the dry season farming.
Because in order to help the poorest and most vulnerable, we have to bring down the rate of inflation. And the biggest component of inflation is food inflation, the high price of food. And it's a demand and supply issue. A successful dry season harvest will bring down the cost of food, will bring down inflation.
And more intervention will come to help our millions of farmers to compensate and support the transition from occasion by change.
The second phase is to commence this month, focusing on rice, maize and cassava, while the first phase focused only on wheat in 15 states. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
All right, we'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll pick up with our conversation on remembering our fallen heroes and lessons for unity. Please stay tuned. Welcome back. It is that time of the year again that Nigeria celebrates our gallant officers who love their country more than themselves. I'm talking about the Armed Forces Remembrance Day coming up on the 15th of January. But almost every year, the same issues of welfare and gratuities are discussed. And our correspondent, Ismail Musa, in this report takes us through some of the major events and what is expected for the celebration.
They stay awake so that the citizens can sleep. They are the heroes of the nation and among top militaries that have contributed to global peace and security. Members of the Nigerian Armed Forces participated in the First and Second World Wars and the Nigerian Civil War that lasted from 1967 to 1970.
After the end of the Second World War, a lot of the blacks or colonized people, these white are not also, they don't have any spare lives. In the same day, they have the same feeling, the same body, the same life, so they can also die. So the invincibility of the colonialist became demystified and therefore set the ball rolling for independence struggles.
Through conflict resolution mechanism, the no victor, no vanquished civil war further united Nigeria and Nigerians.
The lessons for Nigeria is that we should avoid war by all means. That's the lesson from the Civil War and what we have also seen in Liberia and Sierra Leone.
To improve the welfare of military veterans, the federal government through the Military Pension Board ensures payment of debarment allowance and other entitlements.
Before now, there used to be kind of backlog, so people were not paid. Backlog of personnel. The government were able to provide resources, funds, and were able to clear them. We are not owing any personnel. Yes, we pay retirement benefit for those that retire, they are still alive. We pay death benefit to NOK of those that are no longer alive.
Every 15th January, the nation celebrates 7 retired and fallen heroes with series of activities.
God spare our life, so we thank God for all His infinite mercy.
Where we celebrate or observe the Armed Forces Remembrance Day, it should be a period of retrospection about our journey so far as a nation and the role of the armed forces and to what extent the nation take cognizance that role, that sacrifice.
Despite the honor and remembrance, the veterans are appealing for more support.
In some other climes, it's a Memorial Day where public holidays are declared national holidays. It should be Nigerians' Memorial Day for the armed forces because they died serving us.
In response, the current administration promised to make their welfare a priority.
So last year, about 48 billion was released.
And in October 2023, approved 18 billion naira for the payment of group life assurance benefits and other entitlements to the families of fallen heroes. Similarly, the wife of the president, Oluremi Tinubu, recently, through the Renewed Hope initiative, provided the sum of 250,000 naira each to more than 1,700 widows and orphans of the Nigerian Armed Forces to enable them recapitalize their business or start new ones. Every 15th January is a symbol of remembrance and a beacon of hope for a peaceful future, with unspoken message to the nation's fallen heroes that their sacrifice was a noble cause. In Abuja, Ismail Musa, NTA News.
Thank you very much, Ismail. So let's pick up the conversation talking about remembering our fallen heroes and lessons for unity. We'll have a guest join us in the studio, Brigadier Engineer Sani Kuka Sheka Usman, retired. He's a former Director, Army Public Relations and spokesman for the Nigerian Army. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good evening, and thank you for having me on your program.
You're welcome. Now, looking at the significance of the day, talking about 15 January, we have seen the supreme prize, this military officers pay. We've seen the whole recounting reflecting, if we want to look back after the First and Second World War, the Nigerian Civil War, and other operations, in keeping peace around the world, how significant would you say that day is?
I think it's very, very significant, and in the sense that the nation is honoring and appreciating the sacrifices of our fallen heroes and the continuous sacrifices of those in service. So it is most important that, and by the way, the 15th is just the climax of series of activities, that have been taking place right from November last year up to, the 15th of January every year. There were prayers, both Muslim and Christians, and other activities, the launching of the remembrance emblems, and so many other activities by the members of the Nigerian region and the government and Veterans Department of the Ministry of Defense and the services and the defense headquarters, etc. So invariably, it is very important that we appreciate the services and the sacrifices of our armed forces, and especially those who have paid the supreme price of laying their lives in the defense of the nation during some of the security, in dealing with security challenges that have been delivered in the country. And it is good and very, very appreciative that the government is alive to this responsibility. But of course, in every situation, there is still room for improvement, in the sense that there are issues associated with the payment of the environment, group bribes, insurance, and what have you. And I think it is good that we should improve and make it smooth, so that the suffering or of the families will be minimized.
It's good you just led me to what I want to pick up with, talking about the welfare of those they left behind, family members, of course. There's been an outcry for their concerns, especially when it comes to welfare, even for the legions, talking about the retired military officers. From your perspective, I know there's been a shift, a sense of commitment going by this present administration, but from your perspective, what do you think should be done more, to reduce the burden from the federal government?
Quite a lot has to be done. First, I made reference to the payment of the environment. For those that are alive, lucky enough to be alive, that the payment should be done, instead of tranches. I think the money should be released and everybody should get it. And of course, there shouldn't be discrimination. There should be harmonization and smooth, kind of transition between the release of the money and, of course, crediting the money to the various accounts of those people. Now, for the families of the deceased personnel, I think more should be done, opening up opportunities for credit facilities beyond individual effort and institutionalizing this kind of thing. I know that the armed forces, they have provisions for scholarships and other welfare programs. I think we need to improve on that beyond the armed forces or at the defense or Ministry of Defense level. It should be a nationwide something that people will benefit. Take, for instance, the credit facilities, and of course some kind of endowment fund for those people who have laid their lives, for the families of those people that have laid their lives in the defense of this country. So a lot could be done, and I'm so happy with the level of awareness between the those in position of authority and the various veteran association or organizations, so to speak, to see how best we can give a helping hand, not only to those people, the veterans themselves, but the families of our colleagues that have laid their lives, to see how we can assist them further so that they can pick up life in the absence of their breadwinners also. But beyond that, again, it is important to make the condition of services of those people still in service better, so that they can, people will appreciate and join the armed forces, because it's more or less like a kind of thing, people will come and go, just like they said, soldier come, soldier go, barrack remain. So we make it a situation whereby the military service is very attractive in terms of improvement of the welfare of even those in service.
And leveraging on what you've just shared with us, what about support from other organizations? Of course, we know that these legions are spread across the country. I'm talking about support, to reach out. We've seen the Renewed Hope initiative of the First Lady reaching out to widows and orphans, but that's not enough. The private sector can also come in at the state level. What can be done more, really?
Yes, that is what I'm saying. Beyond the individual level, they should be institutionalized, because she just have a large heart. That is why she was doing what she was doing. But beyond her, again, we should think of all these corporate organizations by way of corporate social responsibility. They should give a helping hand, to the families of our deceased, and of course even the Nigerian Aging Institute, by coming up with supportive measures in terms of credit facilities and so on and so forth. So I think there is need to galvanize the other parts of the Nigerian society to see that government alone cannot do it. We need to support its effort to ensure that the armed forces or the security agencies, because the security challenges now, it is a combination of the armed forces and other security agencies, given the myriad of security challenges, that their services are not in vain, that they will not have fear of the unknown. For instance, if for whatever reason you have sustained injury, the system is there to take care of your needs. And even if it comes to paying the supreme price, the system is there to take care of those that you have left behind, be it aged parents, spouses and children, as the case may be, the educational system, the healthcare system, and so on and so forth. And we should have a kind of social security system beyond the group life insurance that is sustaining, that will take care of the families. That's like being obtainable in other. I know that the money is not there, but somewhere along the line, if we can have an endowment fund, it will go a long way to mitigate some of this, to alleviate the sufferings of the families of our deceased colleagues.
All right, Major Brigadier General, we'll pick up with that conversation after this break. Please stay tuned. Welcome back. Tolerance and dialogue have been described as indispensable tools to bring about peace and unity of any nation. These, in turn, will lead to the economic growth and political development of the country. Chidi Okurafo reports on the lessons of war and imperative of peace for the prosperity of the nation.
Nigeria's fallen heroes are those Nigerians, usually military or other security personnel, who lost their lives in the course of their service to the nation. Those fallen heroes may have paid the price during wars, trying to protect others and prevent breakdown of law and order. Nigeria as a nation has faced its fair share of challenges, including periods of war and internal strife that underscores the importance of peace and national unity.
It's a very big experience. I want to believe Nigerians have had little taste of it during the Civil War. The older ones definitely will tell you that the worst thing that could happen to a country is to have war. Yes, and then the younger ones, they have also experienced internal crisis situations. So all these experiences will tell us that war is not good.
Key players are of the view that working together as a nation is indispensable for achieving economic growth.
No, all Nigerians should know that without peace there can't be development. We should know how we can settle our differences. It's not necessarily taking to have a causing instability everywhere.
There is the need for everybody to live conducively in cooperation with other people.
If peace reigns and our husband goes to all these peacekeeping, they will not be killed. Let peace reign.
To achieve sustained political development, stakeholders say Nigerians must carry forward the wisdom gained from adversity and recognize that their collective strength lies in unity. In Enugu, Chidi Okurafo, NTA News.
All right, we'll pick up with our conversation. Brigadier General, you just watched that report. Let's look at the imperative of peace building. Of course, we are a diverse nation and we can't overlook the place of tolerance and dialogue. A conversation that we're used to, but something very crucial.
Well, I think he has said it all, and you cap it Sincerely, there is no better way of putting it other than that we should learn to live in peace with each other, and we should be tolerant and understanding. Nigeria, one of the key points, or rather staying power of the Nigerian society or Nigeria as a nation, is not the abundant mineral resources, but the human resources that God has created, very diverse, heterogeneous, and that's, that are resilience, and that's is the strength of the Nigerian society. So I think we should be able to understand that each and every one of us has a role to play in building a better and greater nation, a peaceful one for that matter. And the building blocks is issue of understanding, issue of tolerance, and the consequences of doing otherwise, we have since it, ethno-religious conflicts and what have you, that does no good to anyone. And, that brought about resources that are supposed to be meant for national development will be diverted, apart from the waste of human, the loss of lives and destruction of properties and what have you. So it is very important that we should learn to live in peace. And I'm so happy that the current administration has come up with a better thing by emphasizing on the importance of national orientation, because it is true orientation, and I've seen that the Ministry of Information and National Orientation has come up with a blueprint to ensure that Nigerians are properly oriented to the nuances of peaceful coexistence, so that Nigeria will be a greater nation than it is now.
Indeed, and let's also look at community engagement aside, also talking about, individual participation in this peace building. I know you've stressed that it's a collective effort, but let's look at ways communities that are affected, those flashpoint areas, can work with security agencies in terms of intelligence gathering to promote peace.
Yeah, it is really important that actually to enhance national security, there is a need to have, a kind of whole society approach, because that is one of the missing links. There are so many other components critical to harmonious coexistence and peace and security in this country that are neglected over time. Take, for instance, even the issue of the traditional institution and the youth groups and other professional groupings within the society. And what we don't understand is the fact that the government is there to ensure the security and well-being of the people. And that cannot be assured if the other components of Nigerian society and other, the political atmosphere, the socio-economic atmosphere is not conducive enough. So there must be an enabling environment where the citizen can contribute meaningfully. And by contribution, it does not mean that you have to contribute money. No. What I'm trying to say here is that even by way of information, people were afraid that if they give information, it will be used against them. Maybe the perpetrators of that crime will be let loose and they will come back for them. And apart from that, also, we have to strengthen these institutions so that they will act appropriately whenever information is given. And of course, it behoves on all Nigerians to give timely and accurate information. And of course, the security agencies should see that they protect the sources of information and act appropriately, in the information, in the pursuit of the information that was given. But beyond that, again, we owe it as a point of duty to ensure that the socio-economic well-being of an average Nigerian. You know that things are not the way they are supposed to be now. A lot of people have been deprived, and of course there are a lot of injustice. They should be rectified, and apart from that also, we should enhance the economic well-being of people, so that, because there is a kind of lacuna, so to speak, between those the people and those in government, and we have to enhance that trust so that people will be given greater sense of belonging to contribute meaningfully to national development, to enhance peace and security. I can tell you, Nigerians, they are fantastic and good people.
Indeed.
That if, for instance, God forbid you are driving from here to Kaduna and your vehicle break down, I can rest assured, despite all this hues and cries, somebody somewhere will stop by to render help. So I want to build on all these good aspects of the Nigerian society.
Indeed, Brigadier General, with shared commitment, we can build a prosperous and equitable society. Thank you very much for your time on the news. We've been speaking with Brigadier General Sani Kukasheka Usman, retired. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much, sir.
All right, we'll take another break. We're back shortly. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Time to talk sports. Of course, you know the African Cup of Nations kicked off earlier today. So, Ayo, I'm sure you have gist for us. Cote d'Ivoire and Guinea-Bissau hitting it. Tell us.
Oh, yes. Thanks so much, Ruth. It's really a very good one out there for the Ivorian national team because they're leading by 1-0. But let's start this way by telling you that the waiting game is over. And Cote d'Ivoire has officially welcomed 24 outstanding men's football team for the Africa Cup of Nations, which ends February 11. The Olympic Stadium in Abimpe was agog with the rich cultural and traditional heritage of the West African country on display for the rest of the world. President Alassane Ouattara made a grand entrance into the stadium with a loud reception from spectators. Also present at the opening ceremony were FIFA President Gianni Infantino, CAF President Patrice Motsepe, and other ranking football officials in world football. Nigeria's music sensation Yemi Alade joined other A-list performers to thrill the fans. All right, right now we're getting closer to the conclusion of the first 45 minutes, and Seko Fofana's 4th-minute strike seemed to be the only difference between Cote d'Ivoire and Guinea-Bissau at the moment. Now, ahead of the match between the Super Eagles of Nigeria and the National Thunder of Equatorial Guinea at the Olympic Stadium of Abimpe on Sunday, let's tell you that this will be the first encounter between both countries at the Africa Cup of Nations. They faced each other in the qualifiers for the 2010 FIFA World Cup in South Africa, and the Super Eagles won both matches by 1-0 and 2-0. The Super Eagles are also making their 20th appearance at the CAF Africa Cup of Nations and have won the tournament 3 times. First in 1980, 1994, captained by Stephen Keshi, and in 2013, when Joseph Yobo was the captain. Nigeria has also reached the semi-finals in 14 of the last 17 AFCON participations. Nigeria were equally beaten finalists the last time the Africa Cup of Nations held in Cote d'Ivoire, when they lost by 1-3 against Cameroon in 1984. Nigeria has equally won 12 of their last 15 matches at the Africa Cup of Nations, losing 3, and their last draw dates back to the 2013 group stages against Zambia, which ended 1-1. Nigeria hasn't really been that shy in front of goals. They've scored 22 times in 6 games during the qualifying series for the Africa Cup of Nations, the highest tally among the 24 teams. At this year's tournament, 10 of those goals came from Africa's Footballer of the Year, Victor Osimhen. The closest in the qualification series are 4 players who managed to score 5 goals. Victor Osimhen was also directly involved in 55% of Nigeria's goals during the qualifying campaign, 10 goals and 2 assists, and it's the highest tally of goals scored in the qualification phase of the Africa Cup of Nations since Momoni Dagano with Burkina Faso in 2012. And of course, that's the AFCON updates for now. Let's go back to Ruth. Remember, Nigeria will be playing against Equatorial Guinea on Sunday afternoon, so let's keep our fingers crossed and see how Nigeria begins the journey for a 4th AFCON title. It's back to you, Ruth.
Thank you very much, Ayo. I look forward to that, actually. So I'm sure Nigerians too. Late Asibi Shako Bulus, wife of late Esu of Cairo in Nasarawa State, Bulus Chetubo, has been laid to rest at the Esu Cairo Palace amidst encomiums by family members, friends and sympathizers, describing her as a matriarch whose legacies are worthy of emulation. Blessing Damfulani reports.
The songs kick-started the burial ceremony of late Mama Sibi Shakubulus, which attracted dignitaries from different parts of the country who came to pay their last respect to the deceased matriarch. In a thought-provoking sermon, Reverend Daniel Sakoma admonished the congregation to have fear of God and eschew evil, which were the hallmarks of Mama while alive. Family, friends, and sympathizers in their goodwill messages extolled the virtues of the deceased, describing her as generous, disciplinarian, unifier, and mentor par excellence.
Mama's loss is a loss, not to the family alone, not to Bagi nation alone, not to Kano local government alone. It's a loss to us all in Nasarawa State and beyond.
My mom was a God-fearing woman, very quiet and calm.
Born in 1938 until her demise on December 28, 2023, late Mama Asibi Ishakubulus, fondly called Mama Karu, is survived by children, many grand and great-grandchildren. From Karu, Nasarawa State, Blessing Damfulani, NTA News.
And that concludes Weekend File. Thank you very much for your time. I'm Ruth Aguene. Have a good evening.